Okay, good morning everybody. This is the third video in our walkthrough series for offensive tactics, tools, and techniques. Today we are going to be creating a backdoor using the Meterpreter and on a Windows 10 machine. So I will first so I will say a few items, but as I said before, I'm going to just get the first Meterpreter session going before I actually start giving more granular details. Okay. Okay, so just to keep us updated, I've created a payload, just named it payload.exe. I have transferred it over to our victim machine on a folder that has been whitelisted. I have started the Apache Web Services. Now I'm going to create our listener and then create our first Meterpreter reverse connection. to, seem to have missed a step. I'll create another one. Okay. So this is set up. We have the right port. We have the right IP address. There we go. So apparently the first payload that I created had some inconsistency with it, which is why it did not fire the first time. So now we actually have a working Meterpreter session. This is the starting point for where we are going to be doing a walkthrough to create a form of persistence in the form of a backdoor. Metasploit comes with a number of built-in modules for creating backdoors and persistence. However, they are old, and even though you can implement them, as soon as you try to restart Windows to test the persistence, antivirus is going to kill the files that are created as a result. So in order to get persistence, you have to come up with newer ways in order to actually make it work. This way of creating a backdoor still works in a number of environments. In this one it works. What it is we are creating a new Windows service. Services are applications, processes that run in the background, normally that people do not have any access to. They run a lot of routine, mundane, administrative details, and many of them are actually programmed to start automatically on startup, which if we actually create one that looks like it blends in, it gives us an opportunity to slip in a Meterpreter or other kind of shell that will automatically start up on when the Windows OS boots, and all we would have to do is set up a listener to connect with the port that it's programmed to connect on. So in this case, the first thing I have to do is escalate privileges. So I will enumerate the privilege list, or the process list. And I usually use LSAS, which is 848. Okay, now I have system level authority. So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to create another payload, and I'm going to, of type service executable. And then I'm going to transfer it back over to the same folder where this payload was located. Let's see. Okay, so what I've done here is I have created a new executable of a different type. You will remember the last two payloads that we created were a plain executable and a dynamic link library, or DLL. This type of executable that we have created is of type exe service. It is a particular type of executable. When we ran this exercise in IA 455, a number of people, I guess, got confused because they did not use this particular type of executable. They either did a plain executable, or they just did something completely different and just did another dynamic link library. But we are creating an exe-service type, and you'd want to give it a routine sounding name. Something like, win service, login, or something else that looks like it would blend in. So I have created mine and just named it login service. And it is now hosted in my Apache 2 folder. So what I can do now is actually use my currently existing Meterpreter session, and I can transfer it over into the tools folder, which is whitelisted. So I can do a present, or a PWD, present working directory, and I am currently in the tools folder on the target drive. So in order to transfer this, I need to have a DOS prompt. So to drop into a DOS prompt, I can just type shell. So to transfer it, I will once again use the curl command, and 192. Okay, and that was login service. So now we can check to make sure that it transferred by doing a dir. So we can see that we have successfully transferred our new service executable over to our target folder on the target drive using the Meterpreter session as a DOS prompt. So the next thing we have to do, which we can also do from our DOS prompt, is we have to create a new running service, actually on Windows. This right now is just we are creating the, if you want to call it the icon. It is what you're going to see when you do Control-Alt-Delete and you list out all the running processes. This is just the Windows portion of it. All those icons will sit in front of an actual executable. So we will create our executable. Auto. So we have successfully created our administrative Windows service. So now before we launch, actually officially start our service, we need to create our new listener, which will be there to accept the reverse connection when it starts. Set payload. Okay, so the one thing we have left to do, we now have a new listener, which is set on port 6464. It's going to be on our same attacker machine, 192.168.245.129. We have our official service executable running in, or created in Windows. The last thing we have to do is actually start it. So in order to do that, we have, I think it's sc.exe. And start backdoor service. So now we have our new session, which is started. So this is our back door. It is simply another Meterpreter session, but it is one which we have placed behind a now running service, which you can see we have it auto starting with Windows. So whenever you reboot Windows, this service is going to start, and with that service will be our Meterpreter session. All we would have to do is go onto our attacker machine and actually set up a new listener within the multi-handler, and we can access this back door. So this is one way of actually gaining persistence that will still have some measure of success. It's not going to work on all Windows systems, but this one, where maybe if they are only using Defender, this will still work. So are there any questions on this particular walkthrough? Again, this is one that we did last semester, but I think some people got confused on a few of the steps involved in here. So you are First thing is you get a Meterpreter session. You're going to use the Meterpreter, in this case, as a means of transferring additional resources over to the other machine and then starting the new service. So I'll go ahead and stop the